Hey there, it's Victoria McCooey from Victoria McCooey Coaching. So, are you constantly doubting yourself? Do you find yourself in a place where you're second guessing everything before you do it? You feel unsure and you have no confidence around any decision making, or you feel incompetent, but you were never like this before. So, if you're in a toxic marriage to a narcissistic spouse, chances are this is how you feel. And it didn't happen overnight for you to get here. It took a long time. It took years and years of this abuse to whittle away your self esteem to get you to this place where you are right now. You're afraid of giving any opinion because chances are it'll be wrong. You're afraid of taking any action because something will happen. It will all be your fault. Does this sound familiar? Uh, your spouse, he expects you to know what's going on inside of his head. He expects you to know what he's thinking, and to act accordingly. And there's just no way you can, but he's so adamant about your ability to do that, the necessity of your doing that, and how what a failure you are for not knowing what he was thinking, that you start thinking that's normal or that's possible or there's something wrong with you, that you're not in tune with what he's thinking. Well, no, you can't. First of all, the narcissist's head, I mean, who could ever untangle that crazy web of whatever is going on in there? You cannot possibly untangle that and or understand that. So it's not you. And I know how you're feeling because I was there. I was right where you are. And you are not alone. There are so many women who come to me every single day with these stories of how their marriage has gotten to this place. And let me tell you what we all have in common. We are typically very high achievers, good students. We really want to succeed. We are type A personalities. You know, we struggle to be our best all the time. We don't want to disappoint anyone. We want to always come out ahead, do the right thing, be the best in class at everything we do. That is why this is so devastating to us. When we're told that we're not achieving, that we're not successful, that we're not doing our job, that we're not doing things right, we strive so hard to please this person, to make him think that we are great, that we're perfect, that we can do everything right, but it's never ever going to happen because it's part of the torture. It's part of the abuse. It's what they do systematically and by design to get you to this place where you're just a shell of a person and you have no voice. You can't possibly have an opinion. You can't function, basically, and they can have all the control and all of the power. So here's what it looks like. First, when the relationship starts, you're perfect. You can't do anything wrong. They hold you in such high regard, and you become addicted to that. You love that feeling of someone knowing how hard you try and how successful you are, and how what a high achiever you are, and to be applauded for that and celebrated for that. Then when you're hooked on that feeling of being on a pedestal, then the abuse starts. Then there'll be very snide comments about how you fell short and it wasn't quite right. And you just try harder and harder and harder to please, to be right, to do the right thing. even when it doesn't seem like it's the right thing to you. You're trying so hard to please this person, to get back up on that pedestal in their eyes. And we're so eager to be successful at everything we do, including this relationship, that we keep coming back and coming back and coming back for more. Then the abuse gets harder to take. I mean, it gets more aggressive in that not just, oh, you didn't do it well, you failed, you did it wrong. No one could do it worse than you. You have no idea of how you're supposed to do whatever. I'm going to give you some examples in a minute. But then you try harder and harder, but it comes down to the point where, every once in a while, he might throw you a bone just to keep you from totally giving up. Like, there's never going to be a way for me to please this person. He'll throw you a bone. It won't be a full-fledged compliment. It might be a backhanded compliment. It might be just enough to make you a little taste, so you think, okay, there's hope. It's not just like he's never going to appreciate me again. He's never going to be that person I thought he could be. No, you get a little taste of it, like a little backhanded compliment, or you almost got there. So you just try harder and harder and harder. You're like this little hamster on the wheel going around and around. You're never going to get anywhere. It's just like a cycle that goes around and around. So does this sound familiar to you? And look, I am not judging. I can never judge anyone in this position because I was in it myself. I like to think that I'm a high achiever. I'm pretty highly educated, pretty intelligent, fairly smart. I fell into this trap. I did, because I wanted to succeed so badly at everything in my life, including this relationship, that I could never, ever succeed at. It was out of my control. And that is what that kind of abuse looks like. So here are some examples of some of the things I was told I was doing wrong, right? So I'm telling you these so that you can hear it and say, oh my God, yeah, that is happening to me right now. And so you're not alone. So there was a time when my husband's brother was in a car accident. He got the call, and this was before cell phones, so he got the call. So we're all upset. It's the middle of the night. He rushes to the hospital to see what's going on, and I'm up waiting by the phone. Of course, this is like a weekday. I have work in the morning, and so he calls me from the hospital. He goes, he's fine. He's fine. He has some scratches. He's going to be fine. The car's totaled, but he's fine. Everything's great. I'm like, oh, okay, great. That's wonderful. So hang up the phone and I go to sleep. He's fine. But when my husband came home, he was livid and told me that I didn't know how to be in a partner, because I should have been up pacing the floor, have coffee ready for him, be up drinking coffee, worried about the brother. And I said, but you told me he was fine. You told me he was fine. It's like, you're so selfish and you're so self-centered, and you have no idea of, well, this broke my heart that I had done something, I had fallen so short. And of course, in retrospect, everything was fine. I did what any normal person would do. I went to sleep so I could get up and go to work in the morning. It just makes no sense. But that was one of the first things where I was like, wow, I am really not as good of a person as I thought I was. I made this huge mistake, right? Because I was berated for it. So that was like, does that sound familiar? Then later in our relationship, the lies that he would tell everyone, I mean, including me, but I didn't realize it, but he would just tell these crazy lies, stories to get out of commit money responsibilities, commitments, whatever. And the more lies he told, the more lies he had to tell to cover up, when the truth started revealing itself. So it was just like this house of cards, all the lying, all the time. So if I said anything to anyone, and if it had a chance of getting back to the person that it might reveal a lie that had been told, it was like I was paralyzed, because if I said anything, I would be reamed for saying something that could possibly out him in a lie. So, even if I said something so benign that I would never even be able to put together how this could relate to anything of his, like something about our kids to another mother or whatever, something completely benign. And he would overhear it on a phone, or it would get back to him, or whatever, or the person would mention it. And then behind closed doors, it was like World War III, because I had been so stupid as to say whatever it was, and it was anything and everything that could possibly have made it clear that what he had said was a lie to someone else at some other point. I mean, can you imagine? So I had no voice. I was afraid to say anything. And the way you have to think to try to keep up, and it's exhausting. And that's the point. That's the point. Because when you're so off balance, they can take over and have all the control. So that is the plan. That's the plan, to keep you so off guard, guessing constantly, tiptoeing, walking on eggshells, unsure, so that they can control everything. They can control you, they can control the situation, they can control the marriage, they can control the family, they can control all the decision making. They need to have all that control to feed their ego. So this is how they get you out of the way, so that they don't have to deal with you trying to take any of their control away. You are paralyzed. Tell me, does this sound like something that you're going through? If it is, then you need to speak with me. So I help women all over the country, the world for that matter, it could be, who are in these situations. I help you reclaim your power. That's the name of my program, Reclaim Your Power, so that you see this from a different perspective. You can know that you're not crazy, you're not alone, and before they totally compromise you, you can start getting your voice back, taking your power back, and getting back some of the control of your life. And if that means leaving the marriage, then I help you through that process as well. So this is coaching that helps. I can't even tell you the difference it's making in people's lives. People are able to see what's going on in their own marriages and take action steps toward changing that dynamic, changing the paradigm of their life, and creating a new life that may or may not include narcissistic abuser, and create a life that they can actually be excited to live and have control over their own destiny. How does that sound? Does that sound good? I know it happened for me. I was able to make a total transformation, and that's what I want to help you do too. So if you are in that situation and you want to talk to me more about how you can reclaim your power, then I invite you to reach out and we'll schedule a free session. That's the first step. So in that call, we'll talk about your situation and I'll ask you some questions to find out if I'm the right fit for you and if we would be a good match. And if you are, then we'll talk about different ways I work with my clients. So I hope you'll reach out. I'll put a link to my calendar available to you in this video, wherever you're watching it. And you can schedule it yourself right online. All right, there's no cost, there's no obligation, there's certainly no pressure. And I hope that I can help you. All right, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.